Hello, everyone. Our guest today is Mr. Salih Muslim. Mr. Muslim, welcome.
Thank you. Our
Mr.
regards
Salih,
to you and your readers and listeners.
thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. Mr. Muslim is a well-known figure, a senior politician in Syria, among the Kurdish people in Syria. He has played a vital role in leading the activities of the Kurdish people in northeast Syria. He was a diplomat for the cause. He was a leader for the cause. He has his personal sacrifices, and he still plays a prominent role for his society. And not only all the Kurds from all parts of Kurdistan, but also other peoples in North and East Syria consider his voice an important voice. Today, we are going to talk about U.S. Envoy to Syria, Tom Barrack's latest statements, in which he brushed off basically an idea of autonomy for North and East Syria that was hard fought for, that was bravely fought for, side by side with the American soldiers defending the values of the free world. So it came, at least to me, as a shock, because nobody expected this to come from the US administration. So Mr. Salih Muslim here represents a movement that has grown from local defense to political administration, building an inclusive model in a deeply fragmented country that is Syria. Yet today, the model faces increasing challenges, not only from Damascus and Ankara, but also, it seems, from some shifts in US policy. So I'd like to start this conversation by asking how the autonomous administration is interpreting the message sent by US Envoy Tom Barrack, and what future you see for your people and your administration in a region that is once again being reshaped by international deals and regional power plays.
Well, I think what have been said, especially for Mr. Barak, his words is just saying, he said them just to satisfy some sides, and especially the Turkish side, because there was a delegation from Turkey at the same time in Damascus. This is one. But secondly, his policy maybe is not representing all the American policies because, as we know, the American policies are done or put by many institutions. Maybe he just was saying his own word. Anyway, we were bothered from this, what he said. And of course, he changed his words when he went back to Washington. He said something different. He talked about the difficulties to bring the Democratic Syrian Forces to the normal army, and some words which is well, usually, is okay for us. For example, he said, you should be in agreement with Damascus. You shouldn't go to anywhere else. And that's right. We didn't look for any doors. Even with not with this regime, even the past regime, dropped regime, also we were contacting them. Always we are knocking the doors who is sitting in Damascus. So we didn't go to anywhere else. And secondly, he said you should integrate with, the Syrian government. That's right. We are looking for. But of course, what they are explaining. Those articles agreed between Mazlum Abdi and Jolani, the 8 points. It should be discussed. Um, of course, maybe we will have a different understanding for these articles. Each one maybe will try to explain or think of what he looking for. And the mediation by the United States and France, they are just mediating, maybe just to make two sides to come together and do it, but not to be taking one side by the others. what he said, maybe he was just talking the words said by Jolani, not by ourselves,
Mm,
which is unfair. I mean, it's not explained. Of course, our democratic Syrian forces will be part of the Syrian army, but not this Syrian army, because it's different. This army is only a jihadist army. As we know, maybe there were many groups, jihadist groups in Idlib and other places, and many of them they were remains of Daesh and Jabhat al-Nusra who were fighting. They were fighting us since 2012, and they went to Idlib, and now they came to Damascus and sitting there. So maybe we were fighting against each other, I mean, face to face, and now how can be in one trench? So it's impossible to do that. So we cannot be surrendered to them. We have to
mhm,
discuss it and to see how we can be integrated with the Syrian army. And the second thing, especially for these protection units or defense units by us, they are legal. I mean, protecting those components here against I mean, attacks on our areas. And if you leave us without them, we don't know what will happen after that. So we cannot give them. It should be the last point we are talking about. If we get sure that there is no attacks on us and there will no invasions, and so at that time we don't need even to have this kind of forces. So it should be the last point. I mean, even maybe after the constitution or whatever agreements we will have, and this should be result of that. I mean, we cannot just tell the democratic Syrian forces to be dismantled and connected to them person by person without any agreement. So it's impossible. So I think maybe the others they understand what we are looking for, but maybe their policy, I mean the American policy, or at least Mr. Tom Barrack's policy, he wants to support this regime in Damascus. So he would like everybody to obey them or to support them. Maybe they have preparing them for some other points, other goals, which is maybe they think they can do it. I mean, in the region or in any area other than Syria. So we have to be careful about that. But this is doesn't mean that we are not. Accepting any dialogue. We are ready to dialogue, and we told them. Well, for example, in Geneva, there were 8 meetings without any results. And then Asitana, there were about 20, 22 meetings without results. And this is only one meeting. So we have
mm.
maybe to sit 10 times to understand each other and to agree in some points. So it's not the last point. I mean, we will have a period which is could take a long time.
Okay, so you basically see this. You don't necessarily interpret this as a policy shift. It's just a diplomatic posturing, right?
That's right, yes.
Okay, uh, so you don't. I'm just trying to confirm. You don't see this as U.S. is abandoning the Kurdish-led administration or the SDF after years of partnership in the fight against ISIS.
No, no, it is something different because we are partners for fighting against Daesh, especially this agreement and partnership was done by Pentagon and is still continuing. Still,
Mhm.
especially in the latest times, there were a lot of Daesh cells, ISIS cells in many were an attacks, and even today, maybe they announced that yesterday there was attack in our points
Yes.
and five our members from SDF or from Asaish they were killed. So they are rising up. in many places, and even in Damascus, in Homs, in the other areas, which is controlled by Jolani. There are many Daesh cells, and they are growing. I mean, they are widening. So it's dangerous, really. If U.S. is sincerely want to fight against Daesh, you should be in close contact with us. This because it's a successful experiment for 10 years, and there is a mutual trust between us for these years, especially for this one. Maybe if we are trying to get them to help our policies or diplomatically, this is something different. But the partnership for the fighting against terrorism is continuing, and especially it's with the military side. I mean, with the Pentagon.
Yeah. So if we go back to your vision of Syria, because as you rightly pointed out, you always emphasized being part of Syria, that you wanted to see a Syria free of dictatorship, free for all the peoples, all the different groups that share Syria as a country. Uh, so what Tom Barrack said was that federalism would not work. So there has to be a central government, a central army. Uh, but then you have your vision is a self-administered regions, Syria. How is that different than partition? How is it not partition? How is it not separatism? And why do you think Tom Barrack's statement for a unitarian government is wrong? And why would it not work in Syria? And a follow-up question would be: do you think there is any room for compromise between your vision of a decentralized governance and Damascus al-Julani's preference for a centralized state?
Well, I think well, this is a little bit different of thinking. Maybe United States or the other, they think if there is a strict centralized government in Syria, will make Syria maybe stronger to help with their goals in the Middle East. I think they are wrong. If they really want to have a strong Syria, they should get everybody to be engaged in this government with their democratic rights, a democratic way. And this is comes, I mean, all the Syrians, we know the diversities in Syria, I mean, from ethnically or from belief-wise, and so, and they should be together. And the only way to collect all of them together to make Syria stronger is the decentralized Syria. And then, of course, everybody can share in the army and even in the power, and so the Syria will be stronger. And nobody is rejecting, I mean, the relations between the United States and Syria for goals in the Middle East, and so maybe we will have it. But the problem is they are thinking wrongly that maybe by depressing or making Jolani, which is I mean, everybody knows his past. He's maybe jihadist, and he was in Al Qaeda, he was in Daesh, and with the same ideas, because what they have practically showed during these months, I mean, few months, and they have shown it in the coast, the Syrian coastal area, and even in Sueda, and against the Durzis. Maybe yesterday till now you are hearing what's going on in
Sweden.
Syria. So and they bombed the church in Damascus. So they are against the Christians, they are
Mhm.
against the Alawites, they are against the Durzis, and if they have opportunity, they will fight the Kurds also. So how if you are looking for a strong Syria, it wouldn't be in such a way. So this is what we're thinking of. I mean, we don't reject any relations with the Americans,
Mhm.
but according to our benefits, to our interest, our people interest. So I think maybe they should review what they are thinking for Syria, maybe in Americans. And of
Okay.
course, if we are still continuing for this dialogue, it means we are looking for the ways how to consensus with the regime or with the others also in the benefit of the Syrian people.
Yeah. So I would like to ask you about the regional power plays. Now, Damascus is being recognized, al-Shara's government is being recognized by the Arab states. And you also mentioned the French and American delegations that joined the talks between the autonomous administration and the Damascus. So do you think this normalization between Damascus and the other Arab states is emboldening the Al-Julani government to sideline what you have achieved in your region? And are there any other actors that contact you other than French and Americans, let's say other European or states, or maybe Russia?
Well, let's say, I mean, the wrong things with the Syrian government, new Syrian government with Jolani, is trying to satisfy the outside their powers. I mean, United States, Europe, UK, France, and the Arab countries also. But he never looked for the Syrian people. And if you look at the view, I think he should satisfy the people inside Syria to get stronger. But the others, maybe they can use it. They can give you weapon or whatever. But you are not stable. You cannot make Syria stable. So this is the point. I mean, even the Arabs, maybe politically or diplomatically, they say, okay, we'll support you in the international area, in the United Nations, and so on. So, but they cannot sharing them for killing the Syrian people. You see, so this is the point. Maybe you can give him money, you can give whatever, but when he is slaughtering the Durzis,
Mm.
uh, are you sharing in it? Maybe you are also criminal because you are supporting him with the money. And even the same for the United States. In our case, of course, our people are well organized and we were able to protect ourselves. And of course, diplomatically, we have relations with those sides involved in Syria, just like France, UK, and even the Arab world, the United States. We are trying to make some ways so to cooperate with them, but nobody is on the ground helping us. For the Russians, we have still, I mean, we have office in Moscow, and maybe they are contacting them, but other than this, we don't have any relation for the Russians, and even for the other sides too. We are
Hmm.
trying to make relations and dialogue with everybody. I mean, we are not rejecting anybody.
Of course.
Uh, but I mean, till now, nobody is involved in the Syrian conflict now,
Okay.
directly.
Okay. Did you have, like, after what we have watched and read on the media, were there any after talks with Tom Barrack or with Damascus regime?
Of course, I mean, we are waiting. I mean, just maybe after a few days, they will have another meeting. And
Okay.
this is the first meeting in this level. I mean, because all the decision makers from our side and all the decision makers from their side, and with the mediators, I mean, Americans and France, they were in high point. So we would like, I mean, this meeting, kind of meeting, should continue. And of course, I mean, maybe in near future, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks. I mean, Barack now is in United States. When he comes back to the Middle East, I think he will try to continue.
Yeah. So how about the people? Uh, okay, it's the delegations talking to each other, but the delegations represent a people, right? You have in North and East Syria strong support from the different local groups, right? Not only the Kurds. There are Arabs of different varieties. There are non-Arab, non-Kurdish populations. But we also know in Syria, the Druze and the Alawite and the Christian people, they look at you. Your success is kind of going to reflect to the life that they are going to spend in the future Syria. Do you have support do you have support of the people to keep your position and defend it?
Well, our delegation is continuing, not only the Kurdish people, the Kurds, Arabs, Syrians, so everybody can say that. Because of that, I mean, the other components in Syria, just like Alawites or Durzis, if they are a little bit away from us, it doesn't mean they are away from our experiment. So they would like to do it, and they just mentioned many times that our project is very democratic and is collective. Everybody is sharing in it, and they wish for our, especially we have our a social contract, which is a constitution for our administration, so they know what's going on, and they would like to be part of it. So it's supporting by politically or by maybe declarations, but practically, some of their political parties they came to area and visited, and they are supporting it politically. I mean, even the Durzis and Alawites also. They find this project is okay for all Syria. It's not only for us. So we have a good maybe wishes or goodwill. I mean to do it, but practically maybe nothing on the ground yet. Maybe in future will be.
Yeah. Mr. Muslim, I remember when you would go to Geneva, when there were talks between the Syrian regime under Assad and the opposition, you would represent the same group, basically the same people, the same region, but you would not be allowed to join the talks, even though you were the strongest party, strongest opposition group in Syria at the time. I remember it would be winter, it would be under cold, under the rain, but you wouldn't be allowed in. And today you are the biggest challenge, biggest not opposition group, but you are leading the group that you are part of leads the most peaceful part of Syria. Uh, so it's from there to now, where you would be you were known by all the parties, but you would not be allowed to join the talks. And now that opposition, with the support of obviously regional and global players, they are in Damascus and they are talking to you. Let's go back only 5 years, not only Tom Barrack's statement a week ago. If you compare the situation 5 years, your position 5 years ago versus today, are you more optimistic or more cautious for the future?
Well, in the period you are talking about, I mean, we of course we tried to be a part of this Geneva discussions and even part of those decision 2254, which was made by United Nations, and we supported it without to be part of it. I mean, sharing in this, I mean, agreement, but we supported from outside. The problem was at that time Turkey was rejecting anything, blaming us as a terrorist group and connection with the PKK, whatever it is. So they just kept us away from any meetings. Not only for that, I mean for Suchi, for Asitana, for so Turkey was depressing. I mean just to keep us away from everything. And even this group in Geneva who stayed there, they included the Muslim Brotherhood, Ikhwan al-Muslimin. And the Ikhwan al-Muslimin, which they were representing all these jihadist groups at that time.
Correct.
So we didn't like to be among them. We would have liked to be a part of it, but separate from them. But now everything has been changed. I mean, after this Jolani matter and collapsing this regime, the old regime, now is a new situation. And all this opposition, they were staying in Geneva and all collapsed. And they have no word. And now what we have, and only Democratic Syrian Forces with those jihadist groups, he became the government in Damascus. So the situation has been changed, and we are staying. I mean, maybe, uh, of course, I mean, what we said from the beginning, still, I mean, trying to make discussion and dialogue with any government staying in Damascus. So we were knocking the door for the old regime to find any solution, but they didn't accept it. We are still knocking the door here too. So we don't know what will happen. It's not only the,
Mm-hmm.
the Kurdish issue. The problem is we are looking for projects for democratization of Syria for all the people. So this is our representative. Otherwise, I mean, if we think of the Kurdish people as separatists, I think maybe it will be different. But now we are looking for a project democratizing all Syria, and this is would be helpful for solving even the Kurdish issue too.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for this. Perhaps I should ask, what about the Alawite? They are a significant ethnic group in Syria, but we don't hear about them. We don't see their delegations. They're not visible. We sometimes hear about the massacres happening to the Alawi population on the coast. But what's happening with regard to the Alawite in Syria?
Well, the problem is the Alawites because the Assad family, because it's Alawites, they were just trying to get all the Alawis as a section for them, but it's not true. I mean, they even were depressing the Alawite people, and just because they are not Muslims, Alawi is different belief, so it's not acceptable by this regime. They are poor people, really. But because of the regime was
Mm-hmm.
from them, I mean the Syrian Ba'athist regime was from them. I mean as a family, all of them they were not organized during that time, and the organization maybe they were just supporting the Ba'athist regime, just because of the regime to stay, and they were not, I mean, a politician. So because of that now you can see the people many faction in the Alawis. They are not one faction. Some of them they believe that maybe still have relations with Russia. Some of them they still have
Mm-hmm.
even emotionally with the Iranians and with the Hezbollah, with the Sunnis. So they are lost really. They don't have a direct view how to do it. And we have connection with them, and we are trying, telling them to organize themselves. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and we are trying to help them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And I wouldn't want to ask about Israel, but I want to ask about the US in particular. They were against the massacres that was committed by Assad forces. But there are now multi-actor Syrian ground. Massacres are happening. Israel intervenes when it's the region close to their border. But how about the other parts of Syria when massacres are perpetrated by forces close to the current Damascus regime? Why do you think US is not involving in these and stop these? They have enough forces to intervene.
Maybe they believe that the Syrian regime or what Jolani and his team, those jihadists, they can be helpful for their goals. They are listening to them, they are tied with them, so they are closing their eyes. Otherwise, they shouldn't do it. I mean, this massacre
Mm,
is happening. I mean, even for this Christian church happened. I mean, now there is a kind of enmity against all the Christians, not only in Syria but also in Lebanon too, having them with a
mhm,
connection with the Hezbollah and so. And there will be a lot of massacres, I mean, against the different beliefs, I mean, from Christians, from Alawites, from Durzis, because those people, I mean, Jolani and his team, they think they are jihadists and they should fight to do, I mean, to put all the world as a Muslim. I mean, they should be Muslims and should be Caliphate and so. So I don't know. It's strange, really. I mean, the United States with this all these humanitarian values and so on, so supporting such a regime. I don't. Maybe it's just kind of interest how they done. I mean, Mr. Ronald Reagan, if you remember, he accepted the jihadist Afghanis in the White House in 19, I think, in 85, 86 or something in this. So it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same people, same policies. And you see what happened. I mean, what what has done against the United States, they will do the same. So I think they should think, I mean, very deeply about what's going on. By closing their eyes against those massacres, it's harming even their benefits too.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly interesting, right? So, one last point. American people and actually the international community has widely supported the SDF's fight against ISIS, and they were standing with your forces when you were defending the values of the free world. If you were to speak particularly to the American people, uh, what would your message to them be?
Well, I think maybe the American United States, and especially the people, they have their own values. I mean, for values for humanitarian, human rights, women rights, and so. And of course, I mean, they should support any organization or any, I mean, any side who are defending these values. But I mean, this support to this jihadist group, just like Jolani and his teams, they are against everything. They don't believe in those humanitarian values. Maybe just one view to, I mean, one look for the women rights, they can understand what's going on and what they are doing for the Christians, for the other believers. So I think they are what the United States government is doing for this government is against the values of the American states. I mean, people's views, values. So I think they should be um, tied to their values and their principles for protecting. I mean, remember, I mean those Wilson and so, which they put the rights for the human rights and the nation rights. So they should be tied to their to the values which did the Americans. I mean, all the people around the world like the Americans and love the Americans. They should be tied to these values, I think, and principles at the beginning, 1 century again, or in the past century.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for
No,
your time. If you have any closing statements, I'd love to listen to this.
no, thank you. Just, of course, we would like everybody to be on our side and to follow what's going on. I mean, because we have common values for everybody in this humanitarian values for everybody. Thank you.